Konnichiwa, Ian des. Let's learn some English. And today we have the adverbs. So I've made a short little video on this, but in this one we're going to go a bit more detailed and it might get a bit intense, but it's good to know. Now, before we start, don't want you to get too worried about this. It's going to be lots of information, and while it's good to know, don't worry too much. Focus on listening and doing your immersion. That is more beneficial than understanding or remembering all these different categories. But like I said, it's still good to know, so we'll go through it. So we'll start with, what is an adverb? It's very straightforward. It just modifies a verb. It adds more information, more detail to a verb. As the name suggests, it adds to verbs. So you'll see the verb, usually a word before it, and that helps you understand what's happening with that verb. And as I said, there's many types. You can categorize them, and we'll go through these in a list, and then I'll go through them all individually. So you have manner, time, frequency, degree, place, purpose. Is there one more? I don't think there is. Nope. So this is what I'm saying. Don't get too worried about it. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. If you see a word, you don't have to think, oh, is it a adverb of degree, or is it frequency, or do I need to use time here, or purpose? Don't worry about that. Worry about just knowing the words, and if you listen enough, you'll know when to use the right verbs at the right time, and you won't know what category it falls under. If you speak to an English person and say, this word, what type of adverb is it? They won't know. It's only because I'm an English teacher that I know the 6 types. But really, focus on listening. So let's go through these anyway with some examples. So adverb of manner. What does that mean? It's kind of, in what manner did the verb happen? So really it means how. So you'll see the verb and sort of how did that verb happen? So you've got things like slowly, softly, harshly, calmly. So it's whatever the verb is, these words explain how it was done. And they go after the main verb. So I was walking. Verb is walking. But in what manner was I walking? How was I walking? Well, I was walking slowly. Same as harshly means a bit. So he was speaking, okay? And how was he speaking? He was speaking harshly, or he spoke harshly in the past tense. So pretty straightforward. Helps you know how that verb was done. Adverbs of time. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's going to sort of have words associated with time, like now and recently, early, later, things like this. And they can sort of be before or after the verb. I think that's where a lot of the confusion can happen, because it depends on the sentence, but it can come either side. That's why I say listen, and you'll just get used to hearing verbs and the words around them, and you'll naturally know what sounds right. So like, see, here's the same sentence almost. I spoke to him recently. I recently spoke to him. So it's the exact same set of words, just a little bit the other way around, and they mean the exact same thing, so you can't really get that wrong. They're both the same. Doesn't matter which one. No, just whatever feels better for you. See, when we go back to this one, it's sort of, I was slowly walking. That works as well. he harshly spoke doesn't work. That would have to come after. So that's why you gotta listen, because you'll just sound natural to if you listen to enough English, where you'll know this one comes at the end. Immersion is really the key. So that's adverbs of time, pretty straightforward. Adverbs of frequency. So you got the verb, how often does it happen? So is it always happening, never, normally, always, words like this. So these are a little confusing. They can be divided into definite and indefinite. So let's look at definite frequency verbs, adverbs, sorry. So these give more detail about how often something happens, and you can measure it. There's a definite measurement you can take, and they are usually at the end. So hourly, daily, monthly, you can measure an hour. Makes sense. So I drink tea daily. You can look every day and see me drinking tea. But if it's indefinite, it's kind of the opposite. It still gives you detail about how often, but it's not really too clear. And they become before. So it's going to be like always, never, sometimes. I mean, I guess you can measure never, but it's not quite the same as zero. It's not quite the same. It's sort of a bit vague. Especially if I'm like, sometimes. Is that every day? Is that every other day? Is it? It's not quite. So you're right. Never drink tea. I would argue that might be another category, so it's a bit of a... That one's a bit grey, but other ones like, I always drink tea it's a bit more vague. You don't know if that is every day or if that's every so often. There's no numbers, really. Okay. And next is adverbs of degree. It's really asking sort of to what degree did the verb happen? How intense was it? And that's going to be like very, hardly, just about. And they usually come before the verb. So I hardly drank. So if I drank, you don't really know, well, how much did you drink? If it's hardly, you know, is it a little bit? Same as I just eat by myself, you know, it's just you, it's, you know, it's how intense it was. And adverbs of place tells you where it happened. And this can be like above, below, inside, outside, things like this. And they're usually found after the main verb. So I ate outside, so now you know the place that it happened. Or it flew above the tree. So you knew it was flying, but did it head height, above, below? Let you know where it happened. And adverbs of purpose. Sometimes these are called adverbs of reason, as they kind of tell you the purpose or the reason that the verb happened. And these can confuse you a bit because they can kind of be conjunctions or even short phrases. But that's, you don't need to worry about that. You're going to see words like since, therefore, so that. So here's studying is the verb, and the purpose of studying, so you pass the exam. So that is obviously the little conjoining bit there. That's why it's confusing. But I study so that I can pass my exam. Okay, so that was still a pretty quick look. On the website I will put example sentences and questions and just more detail to all these, because it can get a bit cloudy. But as I said, worry more about listening and just hearing these adverbs in different circumstances. That's more helpful than saying, oh, I know the word since is a adverb of purpose. While it's great to say that, it doesn't really help you when you need to speak to someone. So listen, watch my videos, watch TV shows, watch movies, listen to music, and just the more you listen, the more you'll kind of just get used to where these types of words should go, and you'll just get better. So keep practicing. Arigato. Matane.